girls upset, and I'll be starting my reaction in 1, 0, go! Alright, I'm pumped up for some soccer epicness. Gotta admit though, the track, at least the noise sounds pretty damn tense. Oh, with the lack of music, it is starting to sound a little bit hopeless for our girls now. Okay, yeah, now it looks like the opposing team's just doing stalling tactics now. It's already over. It's already over? Fuck. I mean, yeah, at least it didn't lose by 20-something. Well, close to 20-something this time. Aww. That really did sting. That's what a doorbell they're trying to recruit him. I can't blame her. I mean, I'm not going to blame her for making that recruiting pitch. I would try to recruit them too if I were in their spot. Definitely. I mean, there's a variety of reasons why, though. You know, in this case, just to have fun. But also because now Honda's realizing how fun it is to really play around a team. So for her, I could see why Honda wouldn't really have considered going to like the most stacked team ever. We already know what's the case with Midori and Suo. They just want to go to a team that seemed like it'd be fun to join. But in saying that, though, I am not going to blame Michaka for the way she's reacting, though. And especially considering that the early bits of the series did emphasize the fact that, yeah! At least when it comes to the Japanese women's soccer, they really, really do need to do something about female soccer. So I like how it didn't forget that whole specific plot point at the very least. But in saying that though, I felt like the way it ended was a little bit abrupt though, because it's like, okay, last week it felt like they had at least 2 minutes or 3 minutes left in the match, and it just ended like that, you know? So it actually really did feel a little bit abrupt how they ended the match, though. That's how I was like, that's it! If that's the case, you should have just ended the match in the previous episode, and it wouldn't have had such a whiplash effect, if you ask me. But in saying that, everyone did put their hearts and souls into the match, though. Aww. I mean, who wouldn't though, especially with the way they went down. The thing is, they were so damn close to winning, they literally could have tasted it. Had one of the goals gone in, okay, they're not wrong about that. The thing is, though, they still have a second and third year, though. Oh, yeah, it would have been a major blowout. That's a good point. Other teams are at least going to be able to scout against that. But then again, that obsession over detail can help someone grow, though. Obviously they can. They just barely formed the team, adding pieces like Midori, Suo, and Onda in like what? In only a few matches, they almost gave a run of them. They gave like an 8-time champion team not a run for the money, but they made them actually use max effort. That's actually a substantial accomplishment if you ask me. And I love that seeing our Onda hungry as hell. When you see her practice, that's freaking badass. Especially with all the soccer balls too. That there's just something beautiful about it whenever you see her passion just radiate through. Man, it gets gets me hella hyped up. And it really makes me hope that eventually, though, she can get rewarded for the fruits of her labor in due time. He was probably just waiting to see if she was going to be able to figure it out on her own, though. Oh, that's really fucking sweet. Well, they are. There's nothing wrong with that. But it isn't team playing for fun and playing to win, though. So, yeah, they collide to an extent. But when you're playing to win, you have to sometimes put in the work. And that might not be necessarily fun. Completely, anyway. Aww. Kind of reminds me similarly of how Brazil treats the Brazilian national team, where they don't really give them much funding or much of anything. Because I remember watching a few YouTube videos about that. Women's soccer actually, it's pretty damn rough depending on the country. In situations like we're in, like if it's say if the women's soccer team in the U.S. or a European country have a substantial amount of support, they'll suggest more of the rarity rather than the standard. Hell yeah. I like how I just broke it down in those words. No, that's where she's wrong. She inspired people in the film, and she also inspired a few people when she played. She inspired Ito, for one. Ito wants to play against her. She was inspirational enough where Chaka wanted to recruit her into the team. It's just that I'm not going to blame her for not noticing. She inspired people while she took big losses. That's why she's not going to notice. But of course the coach and other people would notice. And pretty much anyone that's a third party would notice because they're not the ones taking the L at that specific moment. Oh, that's looking adorable. I love how she's dead set up keeping that promise. She ain't wrong about that. Unless, of course, it's a team that I root for, then I wouldn't mind a supremacy. The temporary supremacy, I'm just saying. Well, yeah. I like how they're already freaking arguing. I actually wouldn't mind hearing their arguments. That is something the series actually does emphasize well. Where Onad always does put up the work. That I will give it credit for. Hell yeah, and I hope she can pull it off someday. Also, the point where I can remember her name because I remember Onda Suo Shiratori's and Midori's name of the girls in our team, but definitely Onda's friend's name just keeps on escaping me. Too late for that now, though. Oh, Ada is probably there because she did like anime. Oh. Yeah, I had a feeling she was going to be there. She is an anime fan. Aww. I like how they're so fucking scared. I like how instantly she lights up hearing that her former friend is depressed. But it's actually cute though to see these bits around in reality. Oh, and that's why it hurt. Well, I mean, they were already friends, so naturally it was gonna hurt. But here especially so, if it was Midori that inspired Chaika to play in the first place, then yeah, I could especially see why it would hurt when she separated from Chaika. Aww. How do you miss about that? I love how Adam wants to separate the fighting. Exactly what I was thinking. That's why I think the loss that they have isn't that bad. Well, yeah, it's a miracle they even lost by 2 goals. And plus, you could always play with her in the Japanese women's national team at the very least. That could be something. Oh. Aww, that's looking adorable. At least now we get Midori's full mindset. But it was in the moment, though. I'm not going to blame Midori for not having a proper conversation at that specific moment in time. And you know, nothing wrong with our girl wanting to stand on her own 2 feet. Oh. God, I mean, that scene was pretty damn good. Hell yeah, she can. I mean, I think Midori's already a lot. With their playmaking abilities. All I need is our swan to add to the full crew. Oh. Oh. Alright, I like that sly smile there. And you know what? I actually don't mind them losing to Urawa because considering that Urawa just had more experienced players and all that, it's realistic. Yeah, if anything, the second years are going to have to start stepping it up. Exactly. to see the whole team now. Although now Pandai's gonna be like, he's alone in the rest. Well, looks like those words didn't have much effect. Might as well be throwing those words to the wind. Something really inspiring about that, though. I always love like the way the soccer ball moves, and then you see the logo. It always feels sort of like a loading screen in one of those old school video games. But you know what? I'm sure she'll figure out a way, though, to improve things. I mean, she has been talking to him already, but yeah, she definitely should have better means of communicating with them, of course. But it looks like he enjoys her company, though, if you ask me. And he's also not wrong about that, because the harder it is to achieve something, the much more satisfying it is once you achieve it. So I understand that mindset. Yeah, and hopefully our coach can eventually start talking with a bit more optimism, you know? Oh, hell yeah! Geez, that's a rough punishment, but hey. Oh, finally, Honda's friends actually participating. Alright! And you know, the animation's actually not looking that bad either. Still not close to the level of, say, Captain Tsubasa and other soccer anime, but it's a good effort regardless. Oh. Hey, you know what? They might as well take their time. Hell yeah! I love the sound of that. Oh! I know, I always love doing that when other characters in anime do that too. I love how Onda always loves the new challenges before her. That's what I like. He just needs patience, that's all. And eventually the games will come towards her. They better show a fucking match. I hate it when the series just skips matches, all casually. Yeah, at least he's honest. You know, I would have loved to have seen that on screen instead of it just being skipped. And so then they would be like, oh yeah, this happened off screen. We should have shown up on screen, but we'll just tell you this because we're too lazy to animate. Alright, so now to get a bit of the captain's perspective, I would have loved to have seen her have a bit more characterization, though, because in a lot of sports animes, they do usually give captains a lot of characterization. Because there should be no fucking way we know more about characters like Shiratori than the fucking captain of the team that Ona plays in. I'm just saying. Whoa! I wasn't expecting her to cry. Okay. That was way stronger than I could have imagined. She kind of does. I just wish, though, that the series gets to season 2, because if it ends like this, it's going to end with a lot of stuff and a lot of plot points not resolved yet. I got it. That's cool. That would be cool if it actually was a season 2 announced. But alright, there were things I liked about this episode. There were things I didn't like. Now, if this would have literally been, say, episode 13 out of 26, I'd be so hyped up. But there's an issue. When it comes to this series, it's like, alright. Even in the final episode, it showed its weaknesses. For example, let me explain some of them. Last week, it would have been better off if we would have just had the wannabes lost in the previous episode. So that at the very least, it'd be like, oh, okay, I guess we can go on the episode expecting a full-on epilogue. But the way they handled things in this episode, it felt abrupt. Because they literally build it up towards the final match being like, okay, at least we're going to see a little bit more of the final match. Here it's like, oh yeah, it just instantly ends. I'm like, wait, the fuck? And that's really my issue with the pacing sometimes. And there are other things too. It's like, when it comes to the series, it would have been nice to see Coach Fugalitsky actually talk to the girls about tactics and, oh, okay, it's back. Oh, it's nice to see the moment where Panda Eyes is actually seeing the moment she retires on television. Oh yeah, then our girl Linda's gonna change. Oh yeah, I thought she was gonna change the channel for a second. It's actually nice to see just the impact she had on multiple people. That's actually really damn freaking adorable. Okay. That was actually pretty touching there. It actually made the episode slightly better. I like the echo when they kick the ball. It sounds pretty good. Oh, that's it. And yeah, those are some of my issues with like the final episode, because it emphasized a lot in the previous episode that Panda Eyes was slowly gonna give our girls a helping hand. But it's like, come the fuck on now. They emphasized that in multiple episodes, yet they didn't show them explain tactics or any of that on screen. They just explain it. That's a lazy ass way of just telling us shit instead of actually showing it off. That's my issue with the series. It relies too much on exposition dumps. That's a fucking issue, because and don't come with me that, oh, Anime Caveman, you're just being... No, I've seen a fuckload of sports animes on this point. I've seen Captain Tsubasa, Kuroko no Basket, a bit of like Hiro no Sora. No, I think I've seen all of Hiro no Sora. I've seen Ping Pong the Animation. I've seen Ashton no Joe, Megalobox. Wave Surfing Let's Go, Escape to Infinity, Backflip. I've seen freaking Burning Kabaddi. I've seen a fuckload of sports animes. And one of the fucking important things is having the coach characters slightly warm up to the main characters. That's why I thought they should have shown off them talking about the tactics, because that was one of the arcs. Literally, Panda Eyes wanted to disassociate, well, not disassociate themselves, but didn't want to like emotionally connect themselves with the girls that much. So it would have been substantial actually seeing him explain tactics for that reason, because that they were building up towards that. That's why the final episode pissed me the fuck off. Now, in saying that, there were good moments. I did love that speech from Naozomi when you see all the girls watching when they're little. That was pretty cool and cute. I liked that. I did like the fact that the girls lost, because let's just be real. Realistically, their squad wasn't built up to beat a powerhouse, at least not yet. You love how they explained that, yeah, they just barely formed the team. They don't have any third years. So that was another cool thing, too. I even love how they mentioned how they have a means of getting better much more quickly. There's going to be interleague tournaments. The coach is finally helping them out. So there were a lot of nice positives. I even love how Nozomi became more self-aware, where she realized that she has to do more as a coach. So there were positives in the episode where I'm like, all right, I like you where this is going in some instances, but damn. Sometimes it does things where you gotta question it, because they were also giving that big moment to the coach, but I'm like, not the coach, towards the captain. I'm like, they never gave the captain that much screen time. So when she was having her speech, don't get me wrong, the words coming from her mouth sounded all good and all, and it was hilarious to see her totally cry. But that also showed off one of the weaknesses of the series, because if they would have allowed that coach character some characterization. Hell, they gave fucking Chaika Ada more characterization than a coach of the Wannabes team. How in the fuck is that even allowable? And don't get me wrong, I like Chaika, I like Ada, but shit, if you're gonna sacrifice someone's characterization, sacrifice Ada's characterization and give more characterization to the captain of the fucking team of main characters, because she's the fucking captain. And that's not, and I'm not the only one that had that issue, because when I was just reading comment sections in Crunchyroll, people are like, oh, who the hell is this chick that looks like Onda? I'm like, damn! That's how you know when there are issues, when even people who watch the series don't even know who the fuck the captain is. And that's another thing that the series sometimes, like sometimes they give characterization to side characters that are fun, but they didn't focus on some of the main characters sometimes. That's why I sort of had issues with the final episode. Because just a lack of build-up. Literally, if they would have just expanded the final episode into 2 episodes, it wouldn't have felt that bad. If anything, I'd be like, hey, you know what? It feels good. Yeah, a little bit rough on the edges, but it gets the job done. Unfortunately, though, as someone who's seen a lot of sports animes, it doesn't get the job done sometimes. I just gotta be fair. I mean, I'm coming off of a season where it's like, now, in saying that, I did have fun in a few bits, but I'm not going to be able to rate this series a high-ass score. So here's what I'm going to rate this final episode. Animation in the final episode wasn't that bad. It was decent. It had some nice comedic moments. So if I would rate the final episode on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being abysmal, 5 being average, 10 being exceptional, I'll give the final episode a 6 out of 10 for a bit above average. But the series overall, I can't give it an above average grade, because this series fucked up way too many times. Because don't get me wrong, final episode was decent, but after some of the bad episodes the series had earlier, like when they straight up skipped the first 2 official matches, when they fucked with Unda's characterization by making her pretty dumb in some of the episodes, then we have the prequel movie where she's intelligent. And then we have the anime again where it goes back, oh, she's semi-smart, but not as smart as she was in the movie. Like, the inconsistency in characterization really fucked this series for me. The lack of focus on, say, certain characters like the captain sort of ruined it for me in certain bits. The bad animation quality kind of fucked it up too, because it's like, this is soccer. Yes, the last 4 episodes of the series look decent, but it's like, you're a sports anime. You're supposed to at least make 2/3 of the series look good. That's what I look for in a sports anime. if you're gonna make at least 2/3 of a series look, let's say a sports anime is like 12 episodes. I expect at least 8 or 7 of them to look good. This series only had like four good-looking episodes. So it fucks the visuals up in that department. And no, I don't count the fucking movie because the movie's a movie. That's different from the series. So there is that. And then it isn't just that was really all fucked though. The thing that really pissed me off, aside from the skipped soccer matches, it was just the fact that I focused too much time on humor that worked at times. But it's like, did we really need to focus so much screen time on the girls trying to convince the muscles coach to let the girls play with the girls team? Just think about it. They spent literally two fucking episodes on that when we could have been expanding on characterization for the captain, extra soccer matches. That's another issue with the series. It had a limited amount of screen time, and it fucking wasted it sometimes. That's one. Because don't get me wrong, I actually liked its comedic. I know people hated the comedic side in the series. I kind of liked it. But they sacrificed important characterization and soccer matches for the sake of humor. That's what really got to me with the series sometimes in a bad way. That's why I felt, even though yes, I enjoyed it, I can't give this series an above average grade. This is literally a season that had good sports animes like Burning Kabaddi and Black Flip. Really great, powerful sports animes. And even SK Infinity. We're talking about, but SK Infinity was last season. We're talking about this season. Oh, and even Set Fist Ronin Fighter. That series had issues. Hell, it had worse animation quality than this series did. Worse! But that series actually had a fucking script. The writers knew how to fucking pace shit. And that had the lower budget than this series. So this series has no fucking excuses. That's why I'm rough on this series. Because it had a higher budget than Set Fist. But Set Fist had a better script and it had better pacing. And that hurts me because I actually like the premise of the series. I actually like this series when it focused on soccer. I actually like this series when it focused on Onda. Or on Midori. Or Suo. It's just that, my god. This series fumbled it so many freaking times where if I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being abysmal, 5 being average, and 10 being exceptional, I'm going to get a 4.5 to 10. The only way this series will become above average is if it gets a season... If it gets a season 2. If it gets a season 2, I'll bump it up to an average 5 out of 10. Then it'll become okay. Because that's another issue. There's too many fucking plot points unresolved. They still got to face Ito's team. Now you got, eventually, our girls going up against Chaika's team again. Eventually. It feels inevitable now. The thing is, though, there's no confirmation of a season 2. It pretty much has to read the manga ending. But if it were to get a season 2, I'll bump up my grade. And if season 2 were to be absolutely badass, then I'd bump my grade for the series to a 5.5, even a 6 out of 10. Provided if it's good. If it's a piece of shit, like, well, I don't want to say the season's a piece of shit. It's more of a disappointment. If it's a disappointment like this season, then I'd still keep it at a 4.5 out of 10. But as it stands, as what's currently shown off, I'm just going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. Because all the factors I mentioned, there's just too many flaws for me to give this an average rating. And then plus, I watched Captain Tsubasa, the grand daddy, the grand poppy of sports animes. And that series was an absolute classic that I'll remember for the ages. I still remember Captain Tsubasa. I remember characters like Tsubasa, Genzo, Taro, Hyuga. I could literally name most of the squad on Tsubasa's team in that fucking series. And I haven't seen it in 3 years. 3 fucking years. I'm watching this series week by week and I could give a fuck about some of the side characters. That's my other issue with this series. They make characters where it's like, I don't give a shit. Yet Captain Tsubasa, haven't seen in 3 years. I remember the details of that series since I last react. I bet you if I react to that series, I'll remember everything. Because last I checked, that series ended up building up towards the Olympics. That's my issue with this series. With Farewell, My Dear Cramer, the expectations for soccer animes are so fucking high. The series didn't live up to it. And I'm a big fan of sports anime. That's what really pisses me off more, because this series had potential. It just squandered its potential. That's my biggest issue. It completely and utterly squandered it. I will give credit though. The voice performers were good. The opening needy kicked a lot of ass. I'll give it credit there. There were beautiful, beautiful theme songs. But that's about it though. Other than that, I can't really give this series any other. I've really much said just my thoughts on it, the whole thing. And yeah, that about covers it. I'm just really disappointed. Still hope it gets a season 2 though, but yeah. These are my thoughts, y'all. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And yes, I did. For those who cares, I reacted to the movie. I liked the movie. It's just that that movie's associated with this series, unfortunately. But yeah, these are my thoughts, y'all. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how I feel about my reaction, or the final episode, or the season, in the comment section below. Hope y'all rate the video, share it, comment, subscribe. And even though, yes, it disappointed me, I do hope it gets a season 2 that's more strongly produced. But I ain't gonna hold that much hope though for that. But you never know, the anime industry has surprised me. But anyways, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching my video, and have a fantastic day, everyone. Bye bye.